Morning in
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय
राधा
राधा
माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
यशोदनन्दन ब्रज जनरञ्जन
यमुनातीरावनचारि
यमुनातीरवनचारि
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna,
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
हरे
Hare,
हरे
Hare
हरे
Rama,
राम
Hare
हरे
Rama,
राम
Rama
राम राम
Rama, Hare
हरे
Hare.
हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare
हरे
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Hare Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna Krishna, Hare
हरे
Hare,
हरे
Hare
हरे राम
Rama, Hare
हरे
Rama,
राम
Rama
राम
Rama,
राम
Hare
हरे
Hare.
हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण
Krishna,
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Hare
हरे हरे
Hare, Hare
हरे
Rama,
राम राम
Rama
राम हरे
Rama.
हरे
जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय
जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय
जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद श्रील प्रभुपद
Jaya
जय प्रभुपद
Pada, Jaya Prabhupada,
प्रभुपद
Jaya
जय
Prabhupada,
प्रभुपद शील
Jaya Prabhupada.
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
Nitai
नित्य गौर
Gaura
हरि बोल हरि
Hari Bol, Nitai
गौर
Gaura
हरि
Hari
बोल
Bol.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
जय
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
जय
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
Jai.
जय
नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की
जय
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय
जय
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय
जय
श्री वृंदावन धाम श्री मायापुर धाम श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की
जय
गंगा माई की जय
जय
यमुना माई की
Jai.
जय
तुलसी देवी की
जय
भक्ति देवी की जय
Jai.
जय
युग धर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की
जय
बृहद मृदंग की
जय
सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय
जय
glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees. Om Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
पाद की
Hare
जय
Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all on behalf of ISKCON Brisbane. We are on day 4 of our 5-day grand festival of our new temple opening for Shri Shri Gaur Nitai's pleasure. And I welcome you all to our daily morning reading of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And I seek permission and blessings from Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, and entire Guru Parampara. And I also seek blessings from all of you Vaishnavas, Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I'm going to I'm going to attempt to talk Bhagavatam in front of all of you, but you all are, you all are very advanced. You all are walking Bhagavatas, and I'm just going to talk Bhagavatam, and I'm far from actually following and practicing it. So please forgive me if I make any offenses or mistakes. Please feel free to highlight my mistakes and correct them. So we are reading from Canto 4, chapter 30, which is titled The Activities of the Prachetas. And we will read verse 11 today. But before that, just a quick recap where we are. So we are in a very nice section of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam where we have seen so far that the Prachetas had gone to perform austerities as per their father King Prachin Varishat's order. And then Lord Shiva had personally come and instructed them Rudra Gita, which is a set of prayers which are glorification of Supreme Lord sung by Lord Shiva. And it was after receiving these instructions from Lord Shiva that Prachetas entered the ocean and they performed austerities for 10,000 years as they were chanting the prayers taught by Lord Shiva. So they have meditated exclusively on Supreme Lord for such a long time, and now after their meditation after 10,000 years, they have got their biggest reward for their tapasya. At the end of 10,000 years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has himself, Sakshat, appeared before them. And we have been reading these beautiful descriptions from the mouth of Maitreya Rishi about the beauty of that very attractive form of Supreme Lord as he has appeared before Prachetas. So we have read that Lord appeared riding on the shoulder of his carrier Garuda, and when he came, he looked like a cloud which was resting on the summit of Mount Meru. And as the Lord is coming, Garuda is glorifying the Lord with Vedic mantras as he is flapping his wings. And the Lord is surrounded by demigods and great sages and munis and all his associates, his anucharas. And his body is so effulgent. It said in one of the verses that his body was so effulgent that it eliminated the darkness of all the universe. And he was wearing yellow garments and Kaustubhamani on his neck. So many golden ornaments we saw in one of the verses Kashishnuna Kanakavarna Vibhushanena. And then he had 8 arms, and each of the 8 arms is holding different weapon. And at the same time, each of the arm is also decorated with a garland. And there was, there was a beautiful, very opulent, long flower garland he was also wearing that was reaching up to his knees. So he looked so beautiful that his beauty would put even the beauty of goddess of fortune to shame. And he gave a merciful glance to the Prachetas. So we can just imagine how fortunate Prachetas are, that they are having personal audience of the Supreme Lord. So in that moment, they are thinking that all their austerity was worth it. And then the Lord started addressing them. It said in one of the verses that he started addressing them in voice like thunder. And so our today's verse is what yesterday's verse actually was what the first thing Lord tells Prachetas. And what is the first thing Lord tells them? Does he say that, oh, I'm impressed with your austerity? No, the Lord says that I am pleased with your sauharda, the friendly relationships you have among you. So Lord says that you all have one common goal, and what is that goal is Srila Prabhupada specifies in the translation that your common goal is devotional service. And then as we heard from His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj yesterday in verses 9 and 10, Supreme Lord also glorified Lord Shiva and his Rudra Gita by saying that anyone who recites these Rudra Gita prayers, I will be pleased by them and they will receive benedictions from me. And today we will read verse 11. Which is, a part of this conversation that is going on between Supreme Lord and the Prachetas. Right now, the first Supreme Lord is addressing Prachetas, and then later on for the rest of the chapter, Prachetas are going to address to Supreme Lord as well. So it's going to be very interesting. But today, let's read verse 11. Let's go to verse 11. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktirvavati
Nestaki.
Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om
Om
Namo
Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
We'll recite verse 4:30, 11. Yadyuyam pituradesham
Yadyuyam Pituradesham
agrahishtamudanvitaha
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
atho va ushati kirtir
Ato va ushati kirtir
lokananu bhavishyati
lokan
Nanu
anubhavishyati.
Bhavishyate.
yadyuyam pituradesham
Yadyuyam Pituradesham
Pituradesham.
agrahishtamudanvitaha
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
Atho atho va ushati kirti
Ato va ushati kirtir
lokananu bhavishyati.
lokan
Nanu
anubhavishyati.
Bhavishyate.
Yadyuyam Pituradesham
Yadyuyam
Pituradesham
Pituradesham
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
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 Atho va ushati kirti
Atho
Atova
va ushati kirti
Lokananu bhavishyati
Lokan
Anubhavishyate
anubhavishyati Yadyuyam Pituradesham
Yadyuyam
Yadyuyam
Pituradesham
Pituradesham
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
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 Atho va ushati kirti
Atova ushate kirti
Lokan anubhavishyati
Lokananu
Anubhavishyate
Yadyuyam Pituradesham
Yadyuyam Pituradesham
Pituradesham
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
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 Atho va ushati kirtir
Atho va
Atova ushate
ushati
kirti
kirti
Lokananu bhavishyati
Lokan
Lokananubhavishyate
anubhavishyati
Yadyuyam Pituradesham
Yadyuyam
Pituradesham
Pituradesham
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
Agrahishtamudanvitaha
Atova ushate kirtir
Atho va ushati kirti
Lokananubhavishyate
Lokan
Lokananu
anubhavishyati.
Thank you so much. Let's recite, let's say the synonyms. Yat,
Yat
Yat
because.
because
Yuyam,
Yuyam
you.
you
Pituhu,
Pituhu
pituhu
of your father.
of
of
your
your
father.
father.
Adesham,
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 the order.
the
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 order.
order.
Agrahishta,
Agrahista
Agrahista,
accepted.
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 Muda anvitaha,
Muda
Mudita
Anvitaha
anvitaha
in great happiness.
in
in
great
great
happiness.
happiness.
Atho,
Atho
Atho,
therefore.
therefore,
Therefore,
Vaha,
vaha,
Vaha
your.
you,
Yo
Ushati,
Ushati
Ushate,
ushati,
attractive.
attractive.
attractive
attracted.
Kirtihi,
Kirti
Kirti,
glories.
glory
glory.
Lokan anu,
Loka
Lokan
Lokan
Anu
anu,
throughout the universe.
throughout
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 the
the
universe.
universe.
Bhavishyati,
Bhavishyati
Bhavishyati
will become possible.
will
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 become
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 possible.
possible.
Translation by Krishna Krupa Murti, His loving divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Because you have with pleasure
Because
As
you
you
have
have with
with
pleasure
pleasure
accepted within your hearts
accepted
accepted within your
within
heart
your hearts
the orders of your father
the
the
orders
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 of
of
your
your
father
Father
and have executed those orders very faithfully,
and
and
have
have executed
executed
those
those
orders
orders
very
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 faithfully.
faithfully.
your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world.
Your
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 attractive
attractive
is
qualities
qualities will be
celebrated
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 the
all
world.
all
over the
over
world.
the world.
Translation again. Because you have with pleasure accepted within your hearts the orders of your father and have executed those orders very faithfully, Your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Since every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has small independence. Sometimes unintelligent men ask why one is put into a miserable condition even though everyone is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of his minute independence, the living entity can obey or disobey the orders of the Supreme Lord. If he obeys the Supreme Lord's orders, he becomes happy. If he does not, he becomes unhappy. Therefore, the living entity creates his own happiness or unhappiness. The Supreme Lord does not enforce this on anyone. The Supreme Lord praised the Prachetas because they all faithfully obeyed the orders of their father. The Lord therefore blessed the sons of King Prachin Barhishat because they obeyed their father's orders. Om Gnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So two beautiful, very beautiful points in this purport by Srila Prabhupada. So first, Srila Prabhupada is smashing the misconception of Jiva that I am independent or I can be independent. So I came across a conversation between Srila Prabhupada and his disciples when he had gone for a morning walk on the 5th July 1976 in Washington. And it was American Independence Day. So Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, as they were walking, they saw some celebrations were going on, fireworks and crowds and music, and they were dancing, and there were, patriotic displays like that. And that led to a very profound discussion about independence and illusion. So one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples mentioned that in America, in schools, children, once they were required to pledge loyalty to the flag, and they had to put their hand over their heart and say a pledge to the flag during morning assembly in the school. And if some child didn't do it, then they would be thrown out of school. So it was like they were pledging loyalty to their nation, loyalty to the political system, and commitment to their independence. Because in 1976, America, had political separation from British rule, and they became independent. And that independence means that they had, they had become free from the control of the rule of a foreign country. And now they could elect their own government, and they could have their own national identity. And they were proud of that, and they were celebrating that. And we see a lot of countries do celebrate their own Independence Day, and that boosts their idea of national identity and Deshbhakti, patriotism. But during that morning walk, so another disciple tells Srila Prabhupada that rule that children they have to pledge to the flag, that rule was removed later on. And then Srila Prabhupada comments that the rule changed because it is not some eternal truth. It is just mental concoction. Manorathena satidhavato bahi. One who rides on the chariot of the mind, one who does what the mind tells them to do. That person, dhavato bahihi, outwards, they run outwards. So today, some idea is declared to be good, and tomorrow it is rejected. Some research will come out today, and then tomorrow another research will prove this research to be wrong. So if we work like this, and if my mind approves something, then it is right. If my own mind disapproves something, then it is wrong. But there is no fixed standard. So that's why there will be fluctuation. One day they are pledging to the flag, and next day it's not necessary anymore. So this is this kind of idea of independence, this unstable foundation of the material civilization, this wrong idea of independence. And then Srila Prabhupada explained to them what real independence is. So Srila Prabhupada says that for a person, a conditioned soul, to think that he is independent or he can become independent, it is foolishness. So Americans right now, they were thinking that they were free from being controlled by the British. So they are celebrating. But are they really free? Are we really free? We are fully under the control of birth, death, disease, old age, time, the laws of nature. So we are controlled by things outside of our control. We are controlled by them at every step. We are dependent on material nature. We are dependent on time. Nobody wants misery, but everybody is forced to suffer. So we are not independent. On Saturday, before the Rath Yatra, it was raining so heavily in the morning, and we were like, fingers crossed that rain stops before Rath Yatra. So I know the forecast was that it was, rain will be clear by 10 a.m. So yes, we can do that. We can, with the help of satellites, we can forecast. But can we order rain to stop? No. We are, we are not the boss of the Lord Indra or sun or moon or wind. They are not in our control. But in fact, we are under their control. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3.27, Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. That by the sarvashaha, all these activities, they are going on by the karmani, by the gunas, gunai karmani, by the three modes of material nature. But ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. The spirit soul who is bewildered by an ahankara, influence of false ego, thinks that karta aham, I am doing all this, I am the doer. And that is the false ego, that is the illusion, that is the core illusion, that the conditioned soul believes that I am not conditioned, I am independent, I am in control, I am free. But fact is that we are not even in full control of our own body. At any moment, disease can strike, death can come, circumstances can totally reverse. So where is the independence? So if the king, has ordered his soldiers to carry out some drowning punishment on someone, and the soldiers hold him under water, and then just for fun they bring him out of water for a brief moment, and in that moment the man thinks, I'm free to breathe, I'm independent. But soon the soldiers, they push him under water again. So that moment when the person is brought out and he thinks that I'm independent, that is a material freedom, temporary relief from suffering, temporary absence of dukkha, and we think that it is sukha. We think that it is real independence, but ultimately material independence, it means that we are declaring that there is nobody above me, there is nobody to control me, I don't need God. But the fact is that even for breathing, even to breathe, we need to depend on the laws that are beyond our control. So we don't understand that we are in jail. Material world is called Durga, and that's why the presiding deity of this material world is called Durga. She holds a trishul in her hand, which represents the three tapa, adhyatmic, adhibautik, and adhitaivic miseries that we all have to go through. We all have to face them while we live inside this Durga, this fort. So this Durga is like correctional home for all the rebellious souls. It's a jail. Now, when we are in a jail, if you are in the cell that you have to share with 4 other prisoners, and if the jailer puts you in another cell where you only have to share with 2 prisoners, or you get very luxurious cell, your own cell, and you can't be happy about that situation. The real goal should be to get out of the prison. The choice, the choosing between different cells or different cages, it cannot be called freedom. So that is the choice, that is the independence we have. The choices we have are within this Durga, within this prison of material nature. And we are happy with that much independence. But that is why we are called, that is why our life is called conditioned life. Real independence, as Srila Prabhupada has taught us, is not political, it is not independence of the body, it is not even psychological. Freedom, as we said, it is to get out of the jail. And how do we do that? What if we find out who is the boss of our jailer and we connect with him? So that way, don't our chances to get out of jail increase? So as Brahma Samhita says, सृष्टि स्थिति प्रलय साधन शक्ति रेखा छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभरति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं tamaham bhajami. So boss of our jailer, Durga, is Govinda Madipurusha. And that Govinda, Krishna, that Supreme Lord, he has his internal spiritual energy, Chitta Shakti. And Maya is the shadow of Chitta Shakti. And shadow is not independent. Shadow does not have power of its own. Whichever way the original light goes, original object goes, the shadow moves like that. So shadow depends on the original light. So similarly, Maya has no independent existence. She acts because the Lord empowers her. So through this Maya, Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, the universe is created, universe is maintained, the universe is destroyed. So she manages this material nature that controls us. So our controller is not acting independently herself. She is Lord's external energies. She works under his direction. That's why Brahmaji says, Ichha anurupamapi yasya cha cheshtate sa. She does her cheshta, her activities, according to Ichha anurupa of Govinda, according to God's desire. And that is why, Brahmaji says, Govinda Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship that Govinda, who is the Adi Purush, who is the supremely independent person above whom there is no other boss. And like Brahmaji, real independence comes only when we understand that, we accept that I am not the controller, but I am controlled. But I will be controlled by the Supreme Controller. So Krishna is Swarat. He is the supremely independent person. He has full independence. And when Srila Prabhupada opens the purport, he writes that since every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity, has small independence. So Krishna is Swarat, he has full independence. We are part and parcel of him, so we have small independence. But here in the material world, while we are in it, we are under the control of Maya, who is under the control of Krishna. So in our today's verse, why is Supreme Lord praising the Prachetas? Because they have with pleasure accepted the order of their father. In 10th canto also, when Lord Damodar appears before Nalkuvar and Manigriv, and he liberates them, and when Nalkuvar and Manigriv, they are offering their prayers to the Lord, they say that Anujanihi nau bhumam tav anuchara kinkaro. That, O Supreme Lord, we are always tava anuchara kinkara. We are servants of your servants, especially Narad Muni. And it is by the mercy and grace of Narad Muni that we have been able to see you face to face. So that word kinkara means a servant. So the one who asks, Kim kara, Kim karvani, Kim karomi, what should I do? They go to the master and ask, Kim karvani, what should I do? Is kinkar, is servant. They don't act according to their own wish. They go to the master and ask, what should I do? So when Nalkuvar and Manigriv says that we are tava anuchara kinkaro, so anuchara also means servant. So tava anuchara kinkaro, that we are kinkar, we are servant of your anuchars. And Srila Prabhupada has translated it as we are servants of your servant. But who wants to be a servant? Everyone wants to be master. Why should we take a lower position and make someone else our master? And not only the direct servant of Krishna, Nalkuvar and Manigriv, they are saying that we are servants of your servant Narad Muni. So that is the idea in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Another example, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sanatana Goswami, he asks Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that you are a Vishuddhatma, you are a pure living entity. You are neither gross material body, you are nor the subtle body. that is made up of your mind and intelligence. But you actually are that spirit soul, which is eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's why you are his eternal servant. You belong to Krishna's marginal potency. And marginal means, there are two worlds, spiritual world, material world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami that you are the marginal potency. You are in between. You are situated in between the material and the spiritual potency. Jivera Swarupa Hai Krishnera Nitya Dasa Krishnera Tatastha Shakti Bheda Bheda Prakasha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 20.108. So we living entities, we have a relationship with both material world and the spiritual world. And that is the choice we have. We want to remain here or go there and never come back. So that is our independence. In Sanskrit, the word independence is also translated as swatantra. And that word swatantra, it reveals the truth. If we split this word swatantra into three parts, swa, one's own self, soul, tan, body, and tra means trayate. It comes from trayate dhatu, to deliver. So swatantra actually means, being swatantra means delivering oneself from the own body, the entanglement of the body, and not just freedom from foreign country or rule of other gender, something like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami that you are tatastha shakti, marginal potency, but your real swarupa, the constitutional position, is that Krishnera Nityadas, you are eternal servant of Krishna. So yes, materialistic person who is influenced by the modes of material nature, they want to be a master. They have a deep-rooted desire to be the master, but that is the false ego. But a devotee is not ordinary. Devotee is an elevated person who has the realization of Jivera Swarupa, the real position of themselves. They realize that they are servants of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, when he comes as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he takes this position. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 13.80, he says, Na ham vipro na chanarapatir na pi vaishyo na shudro na ham varani na cha gruhapatir no vanastho yatirva किंतु प्रोद्यान्निखिल परमानंद पूर्णामृताब्धे गोपी भर्तु पद कमलयोर्दास दासानुदासा. Naham Vipro, I am not a Brahman. Nacha Narapatir, I am not a king or I'm not a Kshatriya. Napi Vaishya, not Vaishya, na Shudro, not a Shudra. Naham Varani, I am not a Brahmachari. Nacha Gruhapatir, I am not Grihastha. No Vanasto, I am not a Vanaprastha. I am not a Yati, I am not a Sannyasi. But I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, who is Gopi Bharat, who is the husband, the maintainer of the gopis. And that is the only identity, only badge he wears. That I am Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayo Das Dasano Dasa. And to become Das, to become a servant, it means to be humble. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us Trinadapi Shunechena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadilna Kirtaniya Sadaharihi. Who can do kirtan sada, who can always chant the holy names of the Lord. One who thinks himself to be lower than the blade of grass. Tronad api Shunechena. One who is more tolerant than a tree, Taror was Haishmana, and one who is a Manina does not expect any honor from anyone, and he is Manadena, who is always prepared to give respect to all others. Such a person can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. Kirtaniya Sadahari. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants us to be humble. And to be humble, as he is doing, we have to give up all other designations. We just have to keep that one designation, servant. I'm a servant, I follow the orders. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that the Supreme Lord praised the Prachetas because they all had faithfully obeyed the orders of their father. So we can see that Supreme Lord gets pleased um, uh, when one is following the orders of their authority. And that is the second point Srila Prabhupada is making in this small purport. He is glorifying the obedience of Prachetas because they followed their father's order to go and do some austerity. And at the same time, they also followed the order of Lord Shiva, their guru, to chant Rudra Gita shlokas as he taught them. So their obedience. So in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, the obedience to Guru is not just, not just ordinary external etiquette or discipline, but, it is a heartfelt expression of love, of affection, and it is direct pathway to perfection of our spiritual life. And Krishna himself says in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11, 17, 27, that Guru is not different from Krishna. He says, Acharya mam vijaniya navamanyena karhichit namartya buddhya suyeta sarvadeva mayo guru. Who is Guru? One should know Guru to be myself and never disrespect him. Acharya mam vijaniya. And one should never envy Guru and na martya buddhya suyeta. One should not think that Guru is a martya, Guru is a mortal, ordinary person like oneself. Because Guru is Sarvadeva Mayo. He is the sum total of all the demigods present there in one person. So in our Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding, Guru's order means Krishna's order. And when a disciple sincerely tries to follow the Guru's order, that means he is aligned with Krishna's will. And when one is aligned with Krishna's will, success is guaranteed. And not the material success, of course, spiritual success. As Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.151 says, Guru Krishna Prasadevaya Bhakti Lata Visham. That by prasad, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, that is when one receives the Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of the creeper of devotion. So by following the order of Guru, one receives Bhakti itself, and that Bhakti grows, and eventually one can reach to Krishna's lotus feet. So when one faithfully executes the orders, the instructions of higher authority, as we see in this purport, in this verse, Krishna is pleased. And we see many examples of this in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That this principle is repeatedly shown when Dhruv Maharaj, he followed his Guru Narad Muni, he had darshan of the Lord. Prahlad also followed the process given by Narad Muni, and he was protected by Lord Narasimhadev. And here Prachetas followed their father's order, Lord Shiva's order, and Lord Vishnu appeared before them. So they all three of them had direct darshan of the Lord. So following the order of Guru is like serving the Lord. And in Mangalarati, in Gurvastakam that we sing, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. Yasya prasada, the prasad, the mercy of Guru, is Bhagavat prasad, mercy of Krishna. And Yasya prasada na gati kutopi. Without the mercy of Guru, na gati kutopi. There is no gati. One cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. And that's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Dhyayam stuvam stasya yashastri sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. And that is why I dhyayan, I do dhyan, I meditate on my Guru, I glorify him, yashastri sandhyam, 3 times a day. So by Guru's mercy, one gets Krishna's mercy. We know, we have heard many times, by Krishna's mercy, we get Guru, and by Guru's mercy, one can get Krishna. And one can get protection for Maya, one can get spiritual advancement, and one can get bhakti. So when the disciple becomes free from the false ego of independence, that is when real freedom begins. Real freedom begins with surrender. There's a very nice quote I had heard that the shortest distance between a problem and its solution is the distance between your knees and the floor. So the one who knows how to kneel to God, that person can stand up to anything. So we have been told again and again to surrender to Krishna and Guru, who is Krishna's representative. And this quote, it also says the same thing, that if we bend down to Krishna, then we can stand up to anything. Because once we surrender to him, once we have complete faith in him, once we realize that he is Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam, he is my ultimate friend, he is my ultimate well-wisher. When we have complete faith in him, the problems automatically get resolved, because Narad Muni says in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 167 that Ishasya hi vashe loko yosha daru mayi yatha. Ishasya hi vashe loko. All the lokas, all the worlds, they are under the vasha, under the control of Ishvara, Supreme Lord. And that's why daru mayi, daru means wood. Lord Jagannath is called Daru Vigraha. So everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of a puppet master. Nearly time is getting up, so I will try to wrap up. So yes, independence. Everybody wants to be independent. Nowadays we see, women get educated, and why they get educated, they want to be working, they want to go out and work, they want to be financially independent on their husband, they don't want to depend on the husband. Children want to be independent as soon as they come in their teenage years. You can't tell them this, you can't tell them that. They want to be independent of their parents after a certain age. Young people, they don't like old people because they depend on them, and young people would treat old people as a liability. So in the start of the today's class, we said, America was celebrating independence. All the countries, many countries around the world, they fought severely for independence, and finally they got it. So there is some truth in these material situations, because dependence always doesn't work in material situations, and in material situations we do get cheated many times, and we go through sufferings, because in material situation, when we depend on other people or other objects or other places. So that's why we have developed this urge that I want to I don't want to depend on anyone else, but I want to depend on myself only. I want to be independent. Manusmriti also states that dependence leads to misery. So suddenly when we come to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and when we are told to depend on God, then our mind tells us to reject this and think that no, I can do things independently. But can we? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives a beautiful answer in 5:18-13 that Harir hi Shakshat Bhagavat Sharinam Atma Jashanam Iva Toyam Itsitam. And in these Sanskrit words, there is beautiful analogy. So Zashana means aquatics. the living entities that live underwater. They always want to remain in the water. So imagine fish says that I don't want to be in control of water. Why should I always be inside the water? I'm independent. Sometimes I'm in one spot and the wave comes and pushes me somewhere else. I don't like this. I want independence. I will go out of water. So can the fish survive? As soon as the fish goes outside the water, fish will be wriggling, can't breathe. It will be in distress because it is out of water. So similarly, when we were in first canto, we read the description of Virat Roop. And if we remember Virat Roop of the Lord, this whole creation, including our material world, spiritual world, so our material world and this tiny planet on planet Earth on the material world, and us, the tiny, tiny insects like creatures, we all are within the Virat Roop. We are all within his body. So we belong to him. We are the fish, he is the water. So if we decide to get freedom, then we will be wriggling. We will not be in peace until we go back in the water, until we go back to following the will of the Lord. So the goal of all the scriptures is to make us aware of our eternal dependence on the Supreme Lord. So, and that dependence is not forceful. It is not, it is not bad kind of a dependence. It is the good kind of dependence, like when a child is playing in complete independence when the parents are watching him. So that is all Krishna asks. And Srila Prabhupada says that real independence of a living entity who is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to always remain dependent. The real independence is to always remain dependent on the Supreme Lord. So I will end with reading what Srila Prabhupada has written in the purport from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4:23-7. Srila Prabhupada writes that all we have to do is execute the order of the spiritual master, preach Krishna consciousness, and follow the path of the Vaishnavas. The spiritual master represents both Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Therefore, by following the instructions of the spiritual master and by chanting Hare Krishna, everything will be all right. So it's nearly 8:30. I will pause here. If anyone wants to share something, if I made some mistake, please correct me. Any questions are welcome.
Hare Krishna, Bhavamayi.
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Lovely Radha here. Thank you very much. Such a wonderful class. Very nice. And all those quotes from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the verses is very nice. See, when we say, that like, legally they say a child is 17 years old and then he's independent. I just remember my grandson, he turned 70. And one day, a few days ago, we were not here and my Prabhu was at home. And so the grandson went somewhere. And I came and I said, "Where did you go?" And he said, "Oh, I just went to see my friend." And I said, "But you didn't tell me." He said, "But I am 17 years old." I said, "Oh, that's good." And the other day, we were busy in the temple with this all celebration. And he was at home. So yesterday, and I said, "You didn't eat anything." And he said, "What? Oh, but there was nothing to eat." And I said, "You could make a, dinner for you or lunch for yourself. Why didn't you do that?" He said, "Oh, but," I said, "No, why are you depending your mom? You are 17 years old." So I was giving him a big lecture that when I was 17 years old, I went to medical school and I hadn't learned anything to cook. And I never cooked until I got married. And then I had all the family, you know, my husband's sisters and all that, they cooked and they cooked. I didn't know how to cook. And it's so interesting story that I just mentioned. I said, one day I said, I will make some dough because I was seeing everybody was working and I wasn't. And then I said, can I make the dough? And I think people who are from Fiji know they know there is a flour which is called sharps, you know, and you have to make the dough and then they make the roti from that. It's like a white flour. But if you don't put oil in that, it sticks to your hands. And I didn't know, and nobody would say anything to me because, you know, it doesn't look nice to say anything to their sister-in-law. So I put the water and all the flour stuck into my hands and I was looking and then I gave up. So I was just telling him I learned everything after I got married and then we came to Australia and I have to do everything. And I said, you have to learn, not say that you are 17 years old and you are independent, but you don't have to be selective. So we have to learn that all these legal things are there. But if we depend upon Krishna, and Krishna is the only one who is actually taking care of all of us, and he is in the full control. So we are like a, you mentioned about that verse, yeah, you were like a wooden doll, and in the hands of that person who is a master of that puppet. So if we think like that, then we of course follow the instructions of our spiritual master. Whatever instruction spiritual master has given, whether they are living or they are not now with us, but their instructions are always there, and they are all coming from Lord itself in the form of all the scriptures which we have. So our minute independence is there, but we still have to depend upon Krishna completely. Thank you very much for such a wonderful class and, reminding us everything. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And yes, Mataji, when we are young, even we, we wanted that independence from parents, and we didn't like anyone asking us questions. But life, as we grow old, by hooks or crooks, life makes us realize that we are not in control. In Bhagavad Gita, when Arjun, he says, Karpanya dosho bhat swabhava, he bows down to Krishna. And he says, I don't know what is good for me. You tell me what's good for me. Shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. So that prapannam stage, to bow down stage, to surrender stage, until we learn that life keeps teaching us by different situations, by lessons. Either we learn from scriptures or we learn from life lessons, but it makes us realize that we are not in control. That's what I've realized, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for class today. It was really, really nice. And as Kadambini was mentioning, talking about her grandson being independent in a different way, my guru has shown me absolute dependence on Srila Prabhupada. I was totally blown away. Just a couple of weeks ago, something had happened and we were discussing about how to best support a few devotees. And so between myself and my guru, we were messaging backwards and forwards. And at the end of it, and it actually made me cry, at the end of it, she said, everything will be all right. Srila Prabhupada is taking care.
Mm.
And this, with total conviction, absolute, 100%, cannot, no doubt in her mind that Srila Prabhupada is there. So that for me was such a powerful lesson, because all I could think of was all the problems, all the issues, all the hindrances that we were facing. And she blew my argument out of the water with that one sentence, because of her belief, her total surrender to Srila Prabhupada, and her total dependence on him. It's a beautiful thing. Like I said, it nearly made me cry. But yes, this dependence in a devotional way, it's so important for us to get our heads around. Thank you, Mataji. That was a lovely class. Haribol.
No, that Mataji, that's so right. And they are so lucky. These Srila Prabhupada disciples are so lucky that they have met him and realized, realized in their life that Srila Prabhupada is always with them at every step. We haven't met him, but we also face situations in life and we sometimes get boggled, mind gets boggled, but then ultimately, we can think that not a blade of grass moves without a will of Krishna. So everything is happening because will of Krishna, and because Krishna is there, everything will be all right in the end. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Mahapuran ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Her Grace Bhavamayi Devidasi ki jai.
Jai.
All glories
Thank
to
you.
assembled
Hare Krishna.
devotees, all glories to
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhupada. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.